Hi, everyone, and welcome to Module 6. We have two very important chapters to cover that are central to understanding family dynamics and building strong relationships with families. First, we're going to look at Chapter 6, and we're going to take a closer look at parenting. We're going to explore different parenting styles like authoritative, permissive, and authoritarian, and how these styles can shape children and their families in very profound ways. You'll also gain insight into the impact of children, including how adult children influence the lives of their aging parents. Plus, we'll discuss practical strategies for fostering happiness and well-being within families, something we all strive for, of course, right? And then in Chapter 7, we'll focus on building trusting and collaborative relationships with families through our facility or center. As early childhood educators, it's critical to recognize the primary role that families play in children's lives. They are their primary caregivers. I know it seems like they're with me all day, but of course, they are still their parents. They still belong to them. We'll talk about the difference between parent involvement and real family engagement and why it's essential to empower families to make them partners in this educational journey. Even though you might be the expert on early childhood, because not every parent can be expected to know what it takes to teach a young child, there's still a critical part of this because they do know their child the best. So you're also going to learn about effective communication strategies that can help build that trust between families and early childhood education programs so that there can be a real bond and relationship there. So as you work through these chapters, consider how you can apply these ideas in your future work with children and families. Think about the real life examples you've encountered so far. And as you have been hopefully doing, think about your case study family and how all of this information relates to that family. So I'm looking forward to seeing how you connect these concepts to your own experiences this week. Let's take a look at what we have in store this week. So I'm going to share my screen with you. Okay, so here's an overview like I kind of just gave you, but you might read it anyway. It talks about where we've been and where we're going, the objectives for the module, and then Chapter 6 and Chapter 7 learning objectives. So in this module, you're going to read the content designated for this module. You're going to watch the videos. You're going to engage in a class discussion. You're going to turn in your family interview. And I guess I didn't finish writing out this list. You're also going to take a quiz and do other things that we're about to look at. So here we go. Readings for a closer look at parenting and building trusting collaborative relationships. So these two chapters are required reading, and your quizzes go over these chapters. Then you're going to read at least two of these articles. So you can use what you've learned from articles coupled with your personal experiences to contribute to what you're learning this week. So pick any two that are of interest to you and be prepared to write about them in your skeletal outline. I mean, of course, it wouldn't hurt you to look at all of them, but there might be some that look more interesting to you than others. And then some optional further reading are these right here. But two of these are required. And this talks about NAEYC's standards and code of ethical conduct, which you became familiar with in the Child Development Professional, the first class that you took with us. And but this is a review, and you can think about how they relate to what you're learning this week. Then we've got some videos for this week too. You've got 4, and all of these are required. They're going to help you a lot with your key assessment assignment for this week because you're going to come up with 7 family involvement activities, and these are all about family involvement. So watching these is really going to make a difference in how you do your assignment this week. So I really encourage that. And then these are just some really good videos that are good to know and might help you. And like it says optional, so there's nothing about them, but you see they are very short. This one's very important. We also use this video in nutrition, health, and safety. But if you don't know what ACEs are, you need to. So I'm just going to leave that there. Go ahead and watch this video. Like I said, it is something that we'll talk about more, but hopefully you're already familiar with it. Okay, for your skeletal outline this week, I get a little bit more specific than I have in some of the others. Again, these are something that you should print off or download, however you're doing yours, whether you're typing or handwriting, but it should be next to you while you're doing all your reading and work for the chapter so that you can take notes, right? So you've got it next to you while you're reading the chapter and you're jotting down notes from chapter 6. Include page numbers so that you can go back to it if you ever want to. And the same thing for chapter 7. Have it beside you so that you're taking notes on the important things. Try not to just copy and paste. Try to really put it in words that make it easy for you to understand. And then you're going to do the same thing with the articles. Since 2 are required, you're going to pick 2 articles, put the title, and then put information that was interesting from it, or summarize the article in your own words or something like that. And then with the videos, of the 4 required videos, you're going to put the title and information from the video. And then anything from the class discussion that stuck out to you or that you want to remember or that might help you with your key assessment. And then you've got a key assessment box for anything this week that you think is specifically going to relate to your key assessment. Okay. But I just want to really highlight that this skeletal outline this week is for you to exhibit your knowledge of the material. Okay. Because there's not an assignment that specifically relates to the articles. There's not an assignment that specifically asks about the videos. Although, like I said, your key assessment assignment, you're going to need to watch the videos to do that. But anyway, this is where you're going to show, hey, I did read this. Hey, I did watch these, and show me what you learned. And your chapter 6 quiz. Chapter 7 quiz. Your family interview, which you've known about since last week. Hopefully you've already been working on that. You've got until this October 7th to do it, or a full week, depending on when you're watching this. It might not be October 7th in the semester that you're watching this, but make sure you look at the grading rubric and know what you're doing and what you're going to be graded on. Then your discussion for this week does require a little bit more reading. You're going to look at this PowerPoint and learn about microaggressions in teacher-family partnerships, okay? So it'll make more sense once you read it, but you're going to pick a microaggression and discuss what the hidden message is, how you would intervene to change the trajectory of this microaggression. In other words, what would you do differently so that it doesn't become a bigger problem? And how can you bring awareness to this problem in your work environment? So, like I said, that'll make more sense once you've read these. Families want what's best for their children. Mostly they want the same things teachers do. They hope their children will live a fulfilled life, do well in school and work, and have positive relationships with other people. Sometimes families and professionals may have different views on how to achieve those aims. So you're going to, for number 2, identify which of the following you see as a strength that you possess. So are you good at working as a team? Are you good at equality in the working relationship? Recognizing and valuing the unique contributors and strengths of the partnership, or shared decision making? You're just picking one that you consider a strength for you and telling why you think it's a strength. Okay, maybe the others are strengths too, but you're just picking the best one. And the other ones, we're considering areas for growth. So of the 3 that remain that you didn't pick as your strength, you're going to pick 2. And for each of those 2, you're going to list 3 action steps that you can take to improve in that area. So if you chose working as a team for your strength, you're going to choose 2 of these 3 for areas of improvement and list 3 ways you could improve on each one. So 6 total ways you could improve. Then you're going to include an artifact. This can be a website, video, blog post, research article, book that you have read that you want to share that might help others. It can be a picture of something you have done in your classroom. Some people have started sharing pictures in as artifacts. And sometimes with really good explanation and reason, that works. When it's just a Google image where you just searched something that has to do with the topic that week, that's not really the kind of thing we're looking for. We're wanting something that really your classmates could use. This is y'all's community, and I want you to help each other out at your jobs. So make it an artifact that will really help someone. So that's the discussion this week, or these are 2 weeks, by the way. This discussion won't actually open yet, and then it'll be due later. Then for your key assessment virtual family project, you've got 2 things to look at this week or to work on. So hopefully you downloaded these in module 2 when we first posted them, but these gives you kind of a plan of what the whole key assessment is going to hold. This one is your basic plan and some due dates. Those due dates have been updated since then. And then an outline, because eventually you're going to put this, all the assignments that we do for the key assessment, you're going to put in one big document. But in the meantime, what we're doing is we're taking small bites out of that document, okay? So like something that you're gonna have to turn in the final one is your philosophy statement for family partnership. And another thing you're gonna have to turn in is opportunities for family involvement. So this is your opportunity to turn those in and get some feedback before you put the final product in your key assessment for true grading, okay? So this is not worth a whole lot of points this week, just 10, but it does go in to the key assessment weight of your grades. So it's worth, like, which is worth a total of 30%. So this, like I said, this is your opportunity to turn these in and me say, hey, before you turn this into your final key assessment, why don't you fix this and do that kind of thing. So here's an explanation of what a philosophy of early childhood entails. It needs to be at least 1 full page. That can be double spaced, which should be double spaced, Times New Roman font, double spaced. And an early childhood education philosophy statement. So notice it asks, it's got some headings here, but that's not how you're doing it. These are things for you to consider as you form your own essay. You're not doing a question and answer thing. This should be a narrative, not narrative, a personal essay, okay, in which you write your philosophy statement, possibly considering these things, but not question and answer format, okay? These might help guide you some in your philosophy statement. And like I said earlier, the videos posted for this week are really going to help you on number 2. In those, like it says, you're supposed to provide a list of 7 opportunities with brief detail of opportunities for family involvement. So, I mean, ways that you can get families involved and not just surface level involved, like really building connections. And you can take ideas from the videos, like directly from them if you want, but you need to explain why they would work for your facility or your case study family. You could even do that. And how they would work at your facility, because we've all got, each of our facilities is different, and what works in one may not work in another. So explain why it would be good for your facility if you're going to take something straight from there. And try to make them varied. Don't do number 1, muffins with mom, number 2, donuts with dad. Those are the same type of activity. So you can't break them down that small. By the way, while we're on muffins for mom and donuts with dad, it's a lot of fun. Those are cute little alliteration activities and good family involvement activities, but you got to think about the names, because what if somebody doesn't have a mother figure in their life and they feel excluded, or doesn't have mom? Make sure they know a mother figure can come, okay, in that place. Same with donuts with dad. Those can be hurtful words if mom or dad are not in the picture for whatever reason. So just make sure that we use names of things that are all inclusive, so that every child feels like they can have someone come for them and be at those events. So that was just a little side note to get you thinking about that type of thing. And then This is to get you thinking about what will be due in the following module. So it is in discussion form and it talks about how there's a discussion to come, but you're not actually discussing that in these. In the next module, you're going to share a fact sheet about one of the community agencies or organizations you explore for your case study. So you're going to come up with those, and then eventually you're going to share them with others. But this is kind of getting ahead of itself. The only reason this discussion is here is so that you know what you're going to turn in next week, which is a list of community agencies and organizations. Okay. And then the reason it's in discussion format is the same reason it has been in previous weeks, because you can ask questions here about it. But this is not where you don't have to find them yet and be sharing them. That will be a whole separate discussion posted in a couple weeks. For right now, you're just realizing that you need to start a list of community agencies and organizations fact sheet. That is part of your key assessment. So you'll start gathering those. Here's a list of places to look. Try to think local in some ways. Sometimes people need local help, not big help that they would have to, be on the internet for. Sometimes people need face-to-face and close help. So like, for example, mental health support. What is provided in your county for children and families that need mental health support? Not, big national hotlines. What can be done locally? I'm not saying that none of them can be, but you need to think local on some of these. So anyway, we will get to that. There will be another video posted when this assignment becomes available. I think that is it for this module. Yes. So as always, please reach out if you have any questions. It's what I'm here for, and I do love hearing from you. And I will talk to you soon.